Hi, yes, hello. My name is Violet, and I'm calling with Elomed. We had received a telephone call from this number earlier today. Someone in your household was looking to become a patient with us. Hi, great to speak with you. I do have a file here that gives me a little bit of information about what you spoke with the representative about earlier today. Before we get started with anything, though, is now a good time? Okay, yeah, it could take us a pretty extended period of time to work through all of the questions that I need to ask you, as it looks like you are wanting to be a patient in a number of different areas. Is that correct? Okay. And can I ask, are you new in this area? Is that why you're... Okay. So you just haven't really had a primary care physician recently? Okay. All right, well, that is definitely understandable. I know insurance is hard to come by. Well, affordable at least. Right. Okay, great. So let's see here. I have a series of questions that I need to ask you in order to get you all ready in our system so that we can book some appointments for you. Okay? Okay, great. And as I said, this will probably take a pretty substantial amount of time. So can I just verify your callback number in the event that we do get disconnected? As you know, we do work from home offices. Right. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. All right. Are you ready to begin? Do you have any questions for me before we get started? Okay, great. Well, if you do have any questions throughout the process, or if you feel that I'm moving too fast, or you'd like to clarify something, please feel free to ask. I won't think you're rude if you need to cut me off. I am going to try to be working as efficiently as possible. Okay, great. So first and foremost, can you please spell your full name for me, beginning with your first name? Okay. And your surname? Okay, great. And what is your preferred name? What should I call you? Okay, great. And let's see here. What is your current home address? Okay, great. Thank you for that. All right. And what is your biological medical gender? Okay. And what's your birth date for me, please? Okay. Alright, let's see. Do you have an email that you'd like to put on file with us? Sure, go ahead. And you said that's at gmail.com? Okay. right, and is the telephone number that you gave me earlier a landline or a cell phone? Okay. Great. And next, who would be your emergency contact? Okay, and what is their relationship to you? Okay. And their telephone number? Sure, that's no problem. Take your time. Okay, yep, go ahead. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see. So, do you have health insurance currently then? Okay, and what is the provider for that? Okay. And is that a specific plan of any type? Is it a federal plan or? Okay, all right. And are you the policy holder? Okay. Just need to fill in your information here again. Bear with me for a moment. Do you happen to know your policy number for that? Okay. Yes, take your time. Okay, ready? Go ahead. Okay, perfect. I'm just going to repeat that and make sure that I got it right, okay? So that was R as in Roger, 077-924-811. Is that correct? Okay, great. And you said you do not currently have a primary care physician? Okay. Do you happen to know the name or remember the name of your last primary care physician? Okay. And where was that? Okay. Was that their downtown location? Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here next. Okay, we're going to be starting with your medical history. As I said, I do have quite a series of questions. I have multiple different paperworks that I need to fill out for the one for the primary care and a couple for the specialists that you've requested to see. Okay, so we're just going to take them in the order that they are here on my screen. There's no particular rhyme or reason to this. Okay, right. Just didn't want you to think anything of that. Yes, they will all be different doctors in this case. However, all of our doctors do work together in the same facility. So we have different sort of hubs around the areas that we service, and for any given patient, we are able to provide a primary care or any sort of specialist that will be in-house, all in the same facility. So they share access to patient records on a computer system. They get a login code which allows them to make updates, kind of like a Google Drive spreadsheet or some other shared document. Exactly right. So the level of care should be absolutely wonderful. Yes, and I happen to know the primary care physician personally, and he's an incredibly wonderful person and has done great work. Yeah, you're absolutely in good hands. Okay, so we're gonna get started here. Do you have any allergies that require you to carry an EpiPen? Okay. And do you have any allergies, generally speaking? Okay. Do you have any condition or disability that limits your physical activities? Okay. Have you ever been a patient in any type of hospital? Okay. All right, and have you had any, or can you list for me, please, all of the surgeries you've had, if any? Okay. All right. Let's see here. And aside from the things already noted here, have you had any other serious illness or injuries? Okay, and can you give me some details on that? And any long-term effects from that? Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Next, we're going to get into a little bit of your family history for health and yours as well. Okay, so when answering these questions, I'd just like to know if any member of your immediate family, so that would be your biological mother, father, and any brothers or sisters that you have. You can also include grandparents if it applies, or if you know. I know not everyone is up to date on their grandparents' medical history, so if not, that is okay, but if you do happen to know, you can let me know. And if you also could tell me if that's your paternal grandparent or your maternal grandparent, that would be helpful. Okay? Do you understand all of the directions for this section? Okay, great. So the answer would be yes or no, and then let me know if you or if anyone of the aforementioned family members have had this. Okay? So how about high blood pressure? Okay. And stroke or heart disease? And cancer? How about diabetes? Okay, high cholesterol? Thyroid disorder? Okay. What about any respiratory diseases? Okay. A blood disorder or a blood clotting disorder? Any alcohol abuse? And drug abuse? Okay, any psychiatric illnesses? And suicide or attempts at suicide? Okay. Okay, in the next section, I'm going to be asking you if you have ever had or if you have now the following conditions. Okay, so it's just yes or no. Alright, excellent. And this is only pertaining to you, the patient. Okay, great. Cardiac abnormality. High blood pressure. Low blood pressure. Rheumatic fever. Anemia. Tuberculosis. Asthma. Hemophilia. Diabetes type 1 or type 2. Epilepsy or any form of seizure disorder. And how about headaches? Any head injury or concussion? Okay, how about any hearing loss? Correct, so these would be diagnosed conditions. Okay. And how about impaired vision? Do you wear glasses or contacts? Okay. Any skin disease? How about measles, mumps, or rubella? Okay, and did you have the chicken pox? Yeah, I think I was one of the last years that didn't have a vaccine for it, so I have some younger siblings who never had the misfortune of the itching. Yeah, exactly. Okay, how about arthritis? Any broken bones? Any back or neck injury? Okay. What about any episodes of paralysis? Any STDs? How about a hernia? A bladder infection? What about a kidney infection or kidney stones? Okay. Have you ever had mononucleosis, sometimes just called mono? Okay. Gallbladder disease? Alright. Have you had hepatitis? Okay. And what about HIV or AIDS? Are you positive for either? Have you been tested? Okay. Any thyroid disorder? Okay. I think, yeah, you had mentioned earlier, but I do have to ask all of the questions. Okay. Thank you for being patient. How about, do you have any autoimmune disorder? Okay. Any alcohol or drug use that is excessive? Okay. Have you suffered from any eating disorders? Depression? Any anxiety or panic attacks? Okay. Have you ever attempted any self-harm? Okay. Have you been diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder? Any ADD or ADHD or LD? Okay. Are you a smoker? Okay. Do you have irritable bowel syndrome? Okay. And how about Crohn's disease? Ulcerative colitis? Okay. And have you ever had chemo or radiation therapy? Okay. Alright, are you currently on any medicines? This could include forms of contraception, this could include vitamins, any minerals, anything prescription or non-prescription that you take regularly. Right, so if you do take Tylenol, aspirin, Aleve, Motrin, Pepto-Bismol, any of those things, and it's not a daily occurrence, right, exactly, just the things that are an intentional, everyday prescription or non-prescription. Okay. Okay. Have you been exposed to anyone with tuberculosis that you know of? Okay. And where were you born? Okay. Have you worked in a correctional facility, a nursing home, a hospital, a homeless shelter, or a residential facility for patients with AIDS or HIV? And have you spent time in a drug treatment center? Okay. Do you happen to have records of your vaccines, your immunizations to date? Okay, so they're going to fax those over. Okay, that's no problem. Did you need me to give you our fax number here? Oh, okay, perfect, perfect. All right. Okay, so have you experienced any significant weight change over the past year? Okay. And do you have any dietary restrictions currently? Okay. So we're going to move on to our next set of questions here. Okay. And any information that is duplicated from the previous section, I will fill out after our phone call ends, okay? So I'm going to try my best not to overlap in terms of your personal information. However, when it comes to the questions on the sheet, I do have to ask them again. So if there are any overlaps, I appreciate your patience in answering again, despite the fact that we have already talked about it. Okay? There shouldn't be too much of that, though. Okay. And is your emergency contact person that you listed going to be the person that we should contact for every doctor? It is okay to list them for every sheet? Okay, great. Okay, so moving on, we're going to be doing a past or present history, okay? So this is just if you presently have or have had in the past any of the following conditions, okay? Rheumatic fever. Any recent operations. Any edema. How about any injury to your back or to your knees? Okay. Okay. And any lung disease? Have you experienced a heart attack? Have you had any fainting or dizziness without physically exerting yourself? Okay. Have you been diagnosed with any sleep apnea disorders? Any shortness of breath when you're at rest or when you've only sort of mildly exerted yourself? Any chest pains? Yes, this is now and in the past. Did you need to change any of your previous answers? Okay, okay. Which one was that? Okay, so you did have some dizziness. Okay, not a problem, don't worry. Okay, any other conditions that you needed to change? Okay, all right. So moving forward, have you had any palpitations or tachycardia? Right, that's when your heart is sort of beating irregularly. Okay. Have you had calf cramping? Any pain or discomfort in your chest, neck, jaw, arms, or other areas of your body without physically exerting yourself? Do you have a known heart murmur? Any unusual fatigue or shortness of breath with your usual activities, So just going about your everyday routine. Okay. Alright. Any temporary loss of your visual acuity or your speech, or any short-term numbness or weakness in one of your sides, arms, or legs? Okay. Alright. Give me just one moment. Now we're going to move into some family history again, okay? Okay, and for this one, they only want to know about your parents, any siblings, or if you have any children. Okay, so instead of grandparents, it would be the next generation. Okay. All right, any history of heart arrhythmia? How about heart attack? Any heart operations? Let's see, any premature death before the age of 50? Any significant disability? Okay. Any Marfan syndrome? High blood pressure? High cholesterol? Diabetes? And any other major illnesses? Okay. Okay. And were you referred to this program in terms of the specialist, right? Okay. And what's your reason for applying to enroll? Are you presently employed anywhere? Have you ever worked with a personal trainer before? Okay. Do you remember the last date of a physical exam that you got from a physician? Roughly. Okay. Do you participate in a regular exercise program at this time? Okay. Can you currently walk 4 miles briskly without any fatigue? Okay. Have you ever performed resistance training exercises in the past? Yes, weightlifting would count, definitely. Okay. And do you have any injuries or bone or muscle disabilities that may interfere with your exercising? And do you smoke? Did you smoke in the past? Okay. Do you know your current body weight? Okay. And do you know roughly what your current body weight was a year ago? Okay. All right. Do you follow or have you recently followed any specific dietary intake plan? And in general, how do you feel about your nutritional habits? You can answer as in-depth or not as you'd like. Okay. Okay, so sort of medium. Okay, that's fair. All right. And the last order of business for this particular sheet is to list 3 of your personal health and fitness objectives, and then I'm going to have you put them in order of importance to you. And if you know, you can tell me as you are describing them, and if not, you can tell me after you've settled on your 3 things, okay? Right, so it's personal health and fitness objectives. Okay, and is that in the order that you'd feel they're most important to you? Okay. Okay, great. All right. You still doing okay? I know this is a lot of questions. Did you have any questions for me at the moment? Mm-hmm. Yes, so at the end of this call, we will schedule your correlating appointments with each physician. If they have any issues, we'll give you a call back and let you know. But we will get you into the system entirely today so that I feel like based on your information, everything is going to be just fine. So that being the case, we like to get our patients in ahead of time as soon as possible, and if we have to cancel, we cancel, but if not, at least you have an appointment already ready. Okay, good. Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've got one more sheet here that I see. Well, it's kind of 1.5. Okay, so this first one is a sort of overall general review of your functioning systems, okay? So there are general, skin, eyes, ears, nose, throat, endocrine, and so on. Okay, and these are all just yes or no questions. Alright, are you ready to get started? Okay, perfect. So we'll start with the general category, and you can just tell me yes or no. Insomnia, daytime drowsiness, anemia, any fevers, recent loss or gain of weight in the past 6 months that was not intentional, night sweats, swollen glands, any swelling in your groin area or in your armpit area, and general fatigue. Next, we have the skin category. Any rashes or skin allergies. Okay. Have you had any poor healing when it comes to your skin? So maybe a cut or some sort of wound that takes longer than normal to heal. Okay. And have you bruised easily? Any change in any lumps or moles that you've noticed on your body? Okay. Moving on to eyes. Any blurry vision? Any double vision? Any eye pain or irritation? Have you ever lost vision in either of your eyes? Okay. Any cataracts? Glaucoma? Do you wear glasses or contacts? And what is your eye color? Okay. Moving on to your ears. Do you wear a hearing aid? Do you experience ringing in your ears? Any deafness or trouble with hearing? Do you suffer from ear infections? Have you had any injuries to your ears? Do you have or have you ever had a broken eardrum? Yeah, that'd be pretty painful if you were experiencing that right now. I'm sure we would not be on the phone. Okay. Any other ear problem that you can think of? Okay. And now we're moving on to the nose. Do you experience any snoring that you're aware of? Sinus infections? Any nasal bleeding? Any nasal congestion when you do not have a cold? And do you have trouble smelling odors? Okay. Just a second here. Alright. Oops, sorry, I was just trying to fix something on my computer. We're back in action here. When it comes to your throat, do you have frequent throat infections or strep throat? What about any hoarseness? Okay, and finally, do you have trouble swallowing? Okay. Moving on to your endocrine system. Do you have thyroid problems? Any cold intolerance? What about heat intolerance? Any excessive thirst? Any excessive hunger? Okay. For your oral, do your gums bleed easily? Okay. Do you have dental problems in general? Okay. Any issues with your sense of taste? Okay. Alright, moving on now to your lungs. Do you experience any shortness of breath when you're at rest? How about any shortness of breath when walking fast on level ground or walking up a slight hill or incline? Any shortness of breath when walking with other people at an ordinary pace on level ground? Do you have to stop for breath when walking at your own pace on level ground, or do you have shortness of breath when washing or dressing yourself? Okay. Any shortness of breath that interferes with your job? Okay. Do you have any coughing that produces phlegm? Any coughing that wakes you up early in the morning? Okay. Do you experience any coughing that occurs mostly while you're lying down? And have you coughed up any blood within the last month? Okay. Do you experience any wheezing? Do you experience any wheezing that interferes with your job? Do you experience any chest pains when you breathe deeply? Okay, and do you have any other symptoms that you think might be related to lung problems? Okay. All right. Do you use a respirator? Okay. Moving on to the heart. Do you have any chest pain or tightness in your heart while you are at rest? Any chest pain or tightness when you exert yourself? Any pain or tightness in your chest that interferes with your job? And in the past 2 years, have you noticed your heart skipping or missing a beat? Any heartburn or indigestion that is not related to eating? Okay, and finally, any heart murmur? Okay. Alright, in your breast area, have you noticed any lumps? And how about any discharge? Okay. Okay, moving on to your abdomen. Have you been having any nausea or vomiting? Okay. Any change in your bowel habits? any bloody stool? What about black or tarry stool? Okay. Any heartburn? Do you have an ulcer disease that you're aware of? Okay. How about episodes of diarrhea? Any constipation? Do you have a history of jaundice? Okay. Any abdominal pain? Just in general. Okay. Any hernia in your abdomen? No? Okay. And do you have any food intolerance? Alright, finally, your urinary. Do you have any increased frequency of urination? Do you experience any burning sensations while you're urinating? And have you noticed any blood in your urine? Okay. Alright. We have 6 more. Well, actually, we only need to do 4 of the 6. So we have 4 more categories here. The next one. Oh, actually, this page has 2 more for the urinary. Let me go back. Do you have kidney stones? And have you had any infections in your urine? Okay. Alright, now we're moving on to the spine. Do you have any difficulty moving your arms or your legs? Any difficulty moving your head up or down? And how about same question for side to side? Any difficulty? Okay. Have you experienced weakness in any of your extremities? Okay, any back pain? Have you had any back injuries? And what about back surgery? Okay. Moving on to your joints. In relation to your joints, do you have any swelling? Any stiffness? Any pain on motion? Any loss of motion? Do you have difficulty bending at your knees? And any difficulty squatting? Okay. Alright, in your vascular system, do you have any circulation problems that you're aware of? Any leg cramps? Do you have any varicose veins? Okay. And finally, your neurologic. Okay. Any seizures? Any headaches? Fainting? Any numbness? Any weakness? Just overall body weakness, feeling of weakness. Okay. And how about dizziness? Any trouble speaking? and any tremors. Okay, great. Thank you again so much. All right. It looks like we have made it through all the sections that we needed to do. Just going to date this and sign it. All right. Did you have any questions for me? Okay. Oh no, yeah, it's my pleasure. I enjoyed getting to ask you all these questions. Yeah, it's part of the job. And let's see here. I'm gonna check the calendar. So we have 3 different appointments that we need to schedule you for. I have an opening for the first doctor that you need to see on the 16th of July. And that would be, I can either do 7 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, or 6 p.m. Okay? Let's see. For the second doctor, looks like the earliest available would be the 27th of July. Yes, that's a Monday. Would that work? Okay. And I have similar availability that day. I have an 8:30 a.m. Actually, or just a 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Okay. And for your final appointment, I have, looks like that doctor is booked up into August. So in the first week of August, I could do any day. You want to do Wednesday the 5th? Okay, and what time would work best for you? Okay, 6 o'clock. Sounds good. Alrighty, well I have you booked in for those 3 appointments, and I'm going to just fill out the rest of the documents here with the information that you had already provided me, just your name and address and that sort of thing. Okay, and then I will have these submitted. You should be receiving an email confirmation for each of your appointments, and in that email there will be a link that you can use to switch your alerts to text message if you'd like. There will also be a welcome email sent to you that will have information for you to register for your patient portal. You can use this to see and change your dates that you see any of your doctors. These first ones are locked in at the moment, so you would have to call back and change the appointment date or time, but in the future with your follow-up appointments you'll be able to modify them yourself at home. Right, and you can also pay your bill on the patient portal, get more information about the doctors you'll be seeing. There are detailed instructions as to how to get to the building, where to park, and all that good information. Okay, but if you do have any other questions that you can't find the answer to, or you need help with anything, please do feel free to give our customer service another call back. Okay. Correct. My name was Violet. If you need anything, there is a transaction history now in the system that says that we talked and did all of this together, so you can certainly ask for me if you need to speak with someone, but I think all of my peers are excellent. Yeah, I wouldn't think you'd have any issues with any of them, but I will be available. Okay, great. Did you have any final questions you wanted to ask? Okay, well, thank you for your time, and I hope that you have a great rest of your evening. Okay, you too. Bye-bye.